Fasting from foods that are poisonous to us in a general sense and being healthy and fit is extremely important for a biblical lifestyle. Watch this.
What is so significant about fasting?
The reason why fasting is so important is because basically when you fast, you have to use your intellect and will to remain steadfast in, I'm not going to eat, even though the lower faculties are like, let's go eat. Let's go wolf down that 32-ounce steak. Let's just eat. I want to eat. I want to eat. Whereas you say, no, I'm going to stay. And what that does is it builds strength in the will, which is called continence, and then it slowly subordinates those lower faculties to where they're only going to follow reason. Now, once that happens, the demons, their approach to us is in those lower faculties and in our imagination. But if we've been in the habit of doing that, that means we're disciplined interiorly. And then as a result of that, the demons are not going to want to get involved with us, because if they attack us because of our discipline interiorly, we're going to say no to it more likely than if they tempt us with something that we're immoderate in, then we'll give into it. And so the fasting plays a particular role in subjugating, as St. Paul says, subjugate your bodies. It brings it under subjugation to reason and will. And then as a result of that, the demons are less likely to attack you because they know they're more likely to lose.
Does it have to be fasting?
Well, there's two parts about it. If you're in the state of grace and you offer up the fasting for some particular, like your protection or for your children's well-being, what happened, then it's a meritorious act and God will grant the grace that you're petitioning.
Just as an example, you're going to battle with demons every time you do an exorcism. Is that a sacrifice that you're making that most people would not make? Does that count?
Yes, it can count, but it's only in one area of our interior life. We have different inclinations. People have inclinations towards sex. That's why there's a virtue of chastity. People have an inclination towards food that they eat excessively. That's why you fast. Or they eat stuff that they're not supposed to be. That's why there's a virtue of abstinence. And so the goal is to adorn your soul of all of the virtues, and those are part of the virtues.
So I want to talk about the Catholic priest and his mention of St. Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 27, when St. Paul mentions, I strictly discipline my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached to others, I myself will not be disqualified. Essentially practicing what he's preaching. I want to attack this video in a couple of ways. As a former personal trainer under the American Council of Exercise, ACE as it's called, I used to be licensed. I let my license expire. I no longer train people, but I still bring my own teaching and training for purposes of my own physical education, ever improving that aspect of my life, this temple that God has given me. And I want to bring scripture into the playbook as well, because I got quite a few verses that really make it important for those of us in the faith to really hone our fullest physical potential, naturally speaking, not using PEDs or external testosterone or SARMs or trenbolone or D-ball or any of that stuff. We don't need that. If anything, that's pharmacology, it's pharmakia, that's poison to the body. We don't want to poison the body because we don't want to associate with putting things that are akin to witchcraft into our body, especially when we really don't need to, honestly speaking. But here's the thing, a few verses are popping up into my head right now. Sirach chapter 30 verse 15, one of my favorites of all time, goes like this: health and fitness is more important than all gold, and a strong body more profitable than wealth without measure. To my brothers and sisters in the faith, why is it that unfortunately most of us are not holding on to this statement? A lot of us can't tell each other, when was the last time we got 150 minutes of cardio a week? When was the last time that we went and trained muscles 4 times a week? When was the last time we actually went and took ourselves into a physical discipline regimen? Unfortunately, a lot of Christians are not in the best state of health when it comes to their blood work and health markers, and I want to bring encouragement to my brothers and sisters in the faith and also in humanity to let them know the importance of physical activity. And this is extremely important because this is our temple. I myself bring my body into subjection and make it my slave, like how St. Paul talks about in 1 Corinthians 9 and 27. But St. Paul also mentions in 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 13, be strong, be a man, stay alert, stand firm in the faith. In verse 14, to complement it, let everything you do be done with love. So how can we be strong and be a man if we have low testosterone? Men, I'm talking about you. Young men, most especially, I'm talking about you. Unfortunately, a lot of us are couch potatoes. A lot of us do not sleep well. A lot of us do not eat well. As a result, the three-legged stool of fitness, sleeping well, eating well, and training well, if any one of those legs are gone, that three-legged stool is going to collapse. You can train well and eat well, but if you sleep terribly, And if you don't get good, deep REM sleep, you will not have high testosterone. And unfortunately, you will not be at your fullest potential. You need to be disciplined, and that especially. People will tell you training and working out is great and all, but if you're not recovering, you are basically wasting your time. And you are. Recovering from your training is probably even more important than training hard itself. So you can have one literally missing the equation of the three-legged stool of fitness, and everything is just, you're wasting your time. You have to do all three in tandem. You have to sleep 7 to 9 hours a night. You have to train well, train muscles 4 times a week. I train upper body abs, lower body abs, upper body abs, lower body abs. That's 4 times a week. And then 150 minutes of cardio a week. I do 25 minutes on the elliptical 6 times a week, 150 minutes of cardio. Moderate intensity, nothing crazy. Honestly, I literally just go on to YouTube. I watch God Logic videos. I watch Sam Shamoon, maybe some Tom Platz edits, and that's boom, 25 minutes done. Easy. So yeah, ultimately it's a lot of fun when you get really good at training, and when you get really educated and you get really intelligent as to what foods to really consume and to abstain from. And this is where fasting is going to come into play. Unfortunately, a lot of my brothers and sisters in the faith, there was a certain picture I want to get to right here. A lot of people unfortunately have this excess visceral fat on their body, excess pounds that they could definitely lose. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to be completely honest in humility, but still being 10 billion% truthful. I am not on PEDs whatsoever, but I look like Baki Hanma from Baki the Grappler. I'm basically his height. I'm like 5'8", he's 5'7". I'm like 167 pounds. He's also 168 pounds. I look like Baki the Grappler. Why? Because I don't put poisonous foods. I fast and I abstain from poisonous foods. And I also do intermittent fasting, like how the Catholic priest mentioned that fasting is extremely important, not just for increasing spiritual power and discipline and preventing demons like Belphegor and those demons that want us to be slothful and to be sinful and cause us to gorge and to eat and engage in the 7 deadly sin of gluttony. But ultimately, fasting in regards to foods that are really, really terrible for the body. I'm not going to lie, learning about the Food and Drug Administration and how poisonous our food system is, now that I know what I know, I look at the grocery stores and I think to myself, that's poisonous, that has red 40, that has blue 5, that has yellow dyes, that has preservatives, that has paint thinners in it, and it's just like, literally all the things that the Food and Drug Administration does in lockstep with Big Pharma is literally coexisting together. They're in bed with each other, so that way people can be unhealthy and will be addicted to medications, pharmakia, basically witchcraft, unfortunately. And I, as a personal trainer, I want to keep people away from hospitals, away from Big Pharma, away from chronically taking medications when they can simply use a cheaper alternative, which is preventative medicine, which is knowing how to eat well, how to train well, how to sleep well, how to have the highest natural testosterone markers possible, which is another thing plaguing young men, unfortunately. But Hosea chapter 4 verse 6 says, "My people perish due to lack of knowledge." So ultimately, I want to talk about the visceral fat right here. You don't want to be too lean. I know a lot of bodybuilders, a lot of people that are on PEDs want to stress extreme leanness for aesthetic Instagram vanity purposes, useless purposes, for showing off for people that really don't care. Like, you're literally taking drugs and shortening your lifespan for what? Attention? That's vanity. King Solomon will call you a fool. But this right here, having too much body fat, is also something that's really plaguing a lot of people. And how do we do this? Ultimately, we need to go to a single ingredient type of diet. Let me explain. If it has more than one ingredient, you got to disqualify it. It's going to take a lot of fasting, a lot of discipline. I cannot tell you the last time I had a donut. I cannot tell you the last time I had pizza. I cannot tell you the last time I had fast food, a burger. Honestly speaking, go into the Bible and the dietary laws within the scriptures that God says, for he made us, he knows what's best for us. Eating a diet that is like the days of the Levitical laws. Keep in mind, we are allowed to eat whatever we desire. For whatever goes into our mouth will not corrupt us, but what comes out of our mouth is what corrupts. Ultimately, that's 10 billion percent true. I'm not denying that. What I am saying is, think about how our ancestors ate. They ate grass-fed ground beef. They ate eggs. They ate fish, salmon. That is my favorite. The king of fish right there. I eat all three of those things every day, every single day. Fruits and vegetables. That's where all my carbs come in. Pineapple, sweet potato. Literally just blasting essential nutrients into your body. Most people are nutrient deficient, and as a result, they have low testosterone because they're lacking in nutrients in a certain regard. Also, incorporating a lot of spinach, a lot of broccoli into the diet. I have broccoli and spinach twice a day. Same thing with pineapple. One of the best anti-inflammatory foods on the planet. The perfect anti-inflammatory food. I have pineapple, fresh pineapple, twice a day. Spinach is one of the best micronutrient sources, multi-mineral complexes on the planet. If it's good enough for Popeye, it's good for anyone. Broccoli, same concept as well. Cruciferous vegetables like that are essentially important for the body as well. And also sweet potato, with it having beta carotene, with it also having anabolic properties, helping you to increase muscle. Salmon, probably one of the best omega-3 fatty acid sources on the planet to help lubricate the blood, to keep things flowing well. And ultimately, it's great for your heart, great for your brain. One of the best healthy fat and protein sources on the planet. Eggs have a element alongside with it that helps for fat burning purposes called lecithin, and also choline. There are so many of you watching this video that are deficient in choline, unfortunately. And choline is extremely important, not only for healthy brain function, but healthy heart function as well. And there's the reason why I have 4 whole eggs a day. So that way I get 100% of my daily recommended choline a day. So I always go ahead and make an effort to get that in. And to be honest with you, these days I have 4 eggs twice a day. So that way I am definitely not missing out on nature's multivitamin, which is eggs. And having 93.7 grass-fed ground beef. Honestly speaking, going from corn-fed ground beef to grass-fed, corn-fed ground beef sits like a lump in my stomach. Never really digested it well, but going from corn-fed to grass-fed, like how animals are supposed to eat, that is helping to digest a lot more properly in the body, with it also being a superfood in its own right. And eating 8 ounces of grass-fed ground beef is perfect for me as far as keeping my blood markers perfectly in check, my overall nutrients for the day in check, and also in tandem with eggs, just helping me to have the highest amount of testosterone possible. Having eggs, salmon, and grass-fed ground beef, you need to have cholesterol in the diet in order to produce testosterone. Without it, you are basically lost. Without vitamin D in your body, it is impossible for you to have functional, high-functioning testosterone. Vitamin D is not even a vitamin. It's classified as a hormone. Without vitamin D, it is impossible for you to naturally produce testosterone, alongside with zinc, alongside with magnesium, both of which are found in my snacking foods, which is pumpkin seeds, probably one of the best testosterone producers on the planet, probably even more so than eggs, salmon, and dare I say grass-fed ground beef. So when you eat things like pumpkin seeds that have both magnesium and zinc, I try to eat that 3, maybe 4 times a day, just small handfuls. Same thing with almonds. A lot of people are deficient in vitamin E, of which almonds are very much plentiful in. I try to have 3 to 4 small handfuls a day of both of those seeds. And then for a nice treat, I like to go for 85% cacao dark chocolate, sometimes 100%. It could be a little bit bitter, but if 85% is perfectly fine. And that really helps to overall increase copper. There's so many of you, I guarantee, are deficient in copper. But eating a bit of dark chocolate and getting those flavonoids in and copper in really helps to keep everything nice and balanced. And glory to my great King that I'm able to give people what I know. Again, Hosea chapter 4, verse 6, my people perish due to lack of knowledge, and people are definitely suffering with ailments that are completely preventable if they simply but fast from foods that if you look at a food ingredient list of some of your favorite foods and see it has 50 ingredients and you can't pronounce a majority of them, there is a problem. But when you eat single ingredient foods like I mentioned, pineapple, blueberries, one of the best antioxidant foods on the planet, I forgot to mention that one as well. When you eat pineapple, blueberries, sweet potato, when you eat spinach, broccoli, when you eat grass-fed ground beef, when you eat salmon, when you eat eggs, when you eat dark chocolate, that's literally my diet in a nutshell. That being said, it is essential that we stay away from foods that are meant to cause us sickness, like this picture on the screen, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, all types of ailments that unfortunately cause us to age a whole lot faster than what we should normally be. Man, this is already 24 minutes. I gotta wrap this video up. Ultimately speaking, though, getting a gallon of water a day is also extremely important, because if people are dehydrated, you're not putting on muscle. Muscle is literally 70% water. If you're not drinking enough water in the day, you're not gaining anything as far as your training is concerned, weight training that is. And also, frankly, there's a reason why a lot of people are chronically tired. I ask people, when was the last time you drank throughout the course of a day a gallon of water a day? And most people will tell you, I couldn't tell you. Yeah, it's very important. It helps to keep everything in the body moving as it's supposed to. We are literally, a super majority of our body is water. So, of course, you're not being able to function well. Your skin's not looking great. Your hair's not looking great on a natural aspect without you having the essential vitamins, minerals, and overall just the things the body needs to be at a great amount of homeostasis and a high amount of homeostasis, especially when it comes to testosterone levels as well. But ultimately speaking, the three-legged stool of fitness, in order to keep us strong, in order to keep us healthy, in order to fulfill Sirach chapter 30 verse 15, 1 Corinthians chapter 16 verse 13, stay alert, stand firm in the faith, be strong, act like men. You cannot be strong or be a man if you have low T. So this video was essentially me telling people what I'm fasting from. Fasting from foods that are poisonous to us in general, and unfortunately are plaguing my brothers and sisters in the faith and in humanity as well, and unfortunately preventing them from reaching their fullest potential, because this is our temple. The Holy Spirit, God the Father, and Jesus Christ gave us this temple, and I want to honor my great King in all I do, in my training session, and the food offerings I put into this temple, the drink offering that I put into this temple. Also, in 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31, it literally says, whether therefore you eat or you drink, no matter whatever it is you do it all to the glory of God. So that's essentially what I do. Everything from training, from sleeping with discipline in mind, with drinking a gallon of water a day, from eating good food, single ingredient food like our ancestors used to eat, that help to keep this temple strong and efficient so I can do His will most effectively, especially for evangelism purposes, and also doing videos like these in my spare time as a hobby. So ultimately speaking, God's will be done. I will maintain the discipline that I set for myself for His glory. Matthew chapter 11 verse 6, blessed is he who is not ashamed of me. I am most certainly not ashamed, and I will use this temple He gave me as a tool to glorify Him even more and bring more people to the gospel. So with that being said, yeah, all glory to Him. A bit of a longer video, but I have a lot to say when it comes to this sort of thing. This used to be what I used to do all the time. Literally got paid to be a personal trainer at one point and was licensed to do so. So yeah, all glory to my great King that I've been able to abstain and fast from things and vices that I used to suffer from. But now that I know a thing or two and have fulfilled Hosea chapter 4 verse 6, and I'm also able to help people not perish through the lack of knowledge by giving them the playbook and let them know, hey, I can't tell you what to do, but this is what I've done personally. And I hope this video has been helpful for you. Yeah, thank you all so much for watching. All glory to my great King. Please subscribe. I thank you for the support, and I hope you all have a blessed day. Take care.